At least once a year, I like to bring into this kitchen some of my Julien's famous tofu. I'm serious about this stuff. I'm up the night before pressing tofu. I think it was only a matter of time before I welcomed some sort of the office into the kitchen. And here we go. Spills tofu all over the office floor. For real, I was literally up last night pressing tofu. That part is not a joke, that is real. I pressed 4 blocks of extra firm organic tofu last night. So I could do my best at trying to make tofu delicious. I have a few recipes up the old sleeve. I figured out a lot of ways, actually not a lot, I figured out a few ways that really work to make tofu like delicious. I was fed tofu a lot growing up and I remember never really enjoying it. I always thought it was like very bland. And the reason why I thought that, I think, is because it is. Tofu is incredibly bland, especially when you take it out of the package and eat it with very little prep. With a little bit of elbow grease and a good old tofu press, you can make tofu taste really, really good. So I had this idea, thanks to you guys on Twitter, to make a few different tofu recipes because it seems like a lot of people don't know what to do with tofu. And that's okay because I didn't know what to do with it at one point too, and now I do. And it's great, and I eat it, and it's wonderful. So I'm gonna attempt to make Nashville hot tofu, Kung Pao tofu, and tofu bacon. 2 of those 3 things I've done before. I've done the Kung Pao and the tofu bacon, and I know that those work. The tofu bacon is what we'll start with because we have to marinate that. Then the Kung Pao tofu comes with a lot more prep. We're gonna have a lot of vegetables. I got some rice in the rice cooker. That's gonna be our Asian flair with the tofu. And then lastly, I'm gonna try for the first time making Nashville hot tofu. I've never had Nashville hot tofu. I've never had Nashville hot chicken, Nashville hot anything. I just looked up a recipe when a certain taco recommended me make that on this channel, so I'm gonna try that for the first time. So that might be great. It also might be bad. We'll see. Part of the fun here, isn't it? If there's one thing that's important to do to tofu to make it workable, it's press it. Get the water out of this thing. So you can buy like a tofu press. I got mine on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. You just put your tofu in there, press it down, and it slowly just drains the water out. And then you have a dried out block of really versatile cooking material, honestly. It crisps well, it takes flavor, it's like a sponge. So for the bacon tofu, I'm gonna just slice it lengthwise and try to get sort of like a long, thin sort of piece. And I wanna keep them relatively thin, but not too thin so that they break. Tofu bacon is one of those things that I will make and then I will put it in everything. I'll put it in salads, I'll put it in a sandwich, I'll eat it by itself. This is all good to go. Next, we are gonna make our little marinade. You're gonna need a few ingredients for this. Liquid smoke, soy sauce, tomato paste, maple syrup, water, I think that's it. And you're just gonna throw all those things in here. So just like the nacho cheese last week, not complete without tomato paste is this bacon. About a ½ cup of soy sauce, tablespoon of liquid smoke. That is what's gonna give it its smoky flavor. Then add a little bit of water. And this is not in the recipe, but I like to add just a tiny bit of oil in the marinade because I feel like it coats the tofu bacon nicely. And then we're just gonna put all of our tofu in, make sure they're not sticking to each other, and submerge all the pieces nicely. Splash a little on your shirt like I just did. And you're just gonna let it marinate. I mean, ideally you'd like keep this in marinade for a couple hours, but we'll just do it for 30 minutes because that's kind of all you really need. So for those of you who have never had Kung Pao tofu, it's like literally exactly what it sounds like. It's like Kung Pao chicken, but instead it's with tofu. And if you get the batter right, the sauce is easy. You should have no problem making this. It's a little prep intensive, but it's worth it. One of my favorite recipes. We're gonna need 2 bowls, wet and dry ingredients. Wait, no, dry, wet and dry. Okay, there we go, wet and dry. You're gonna put flour, cornstarch, baking powder, and a little salt in the dry ingredients. Have that together. And then for the wet ingredients, it's more of the sauce actually. You're gonna need some knockoff sambal, some soy sauce, maple syrup, rice wine vinegar. Oh, and some of this stuff, which is incredible. It is a plant-based fish sauce, which really, really helps Asian dishes because it does add that fishy flavor. You're gonna have a little bit of vegetable stock as well, just a little splash of it. Lastly, we're gonna add just a couple teaspoons of cornstarch to help thicken up the sauce a little bit. We're gonna chop up a leek. This really helps just freshen up the taste of the final dish because it's all very spicy and hot and deep fried. So guys, today is really just about becoming your best soy boy, okay? Embrace your inner soy boy. We're gonna take a couple scallions, smack them together, get all the water off. Definitely don't do that. I just got a bunch of things wet in the kitchen. Cool. Okay, that's gonna go with the leeks. It is now time to get spicy and also time to remember not to rub your eyes, nose, or ears or anywhere else on your body after handling this food. You will regret it. You're gonna take this hot pepper and we are going to seed it. And we are just gonna take about half of it and we're gonna really finely mince. And this is gonna go along with our scallions and leeks to go in the final Kung Pao dish. This is gonna give it some nice, bold heat, baby. I'm gonna wash my hands. Definitely something you should do as well. You should see the beautiful mountain of paper towels that I amass throughout cooking and filming a recipe. I should be using hand towels, but sometimes it's really nasty and I don't wanna get like all sorts of shit on the hand towels, so it's actually impressive. Up next, we are going to cut up the tofu in Kung Pao sized bites, which, let's see, let's test this out here. I think that's good, right? Kung Pao sized. I think this, okay, so we're gonna cut them about this size. Okay, this might be my favorite part of the recipe. First, we're gonna add some water, okay? Let's add some water. And then we are gonna add vodka to our batter. Make sure your vodka is nice and comfortable though, okay? You don't want your vodka to be cold. You're gonna do about a half a cup, 2 shots of vodka. Glug, glug, glug. And I'm gonna whisk this with my handy little mini whisker. Whisk, whisker, whisker, whisk. I think it's a whisk. You can see this texture is like really kind of perfect. It's not too thin, not too thick. And what we're gonna end up doing is literally just coating these pieces of tofu in the batter and we're gonna fry in a wok with some vegetable oil until they're just crispy. And then we are gonna saute and stir fry these beautiful vegetables with some garlic and ginger, put it all together, put it on top of some rice, and that's gonna be our dish. One step that is super important and a little bit tedious in the Kung Pao recipe is you're gonna take some Szechuan peppercorns. I have a little stash of my own, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna flash fry them into some oil to kind of create your own chili oil or Szechuan pepper oil. I'm gonna literally just like heat up some oil to the point where it's shimmering and it's very, very hot. Throw some of these, maybe like a tablespoon of these peppercorns, flash fry for like 5 seconds, and then I'm gonna strain the oil. And that's how we get our oil for this Kung Pao recipe. Gonna make it spicy, it's gonna give it a really nice flavor, and it's a really hot, dangerous, wild activity to do in the kitchen. So there's that. Okay, so this is kind of my method for how I do this. It's also my method for drinking coffee. I just walk around the house. This is gonna be super quick to the point where you're gonna wonder if it actually does anything when you fry it, like flash fry it that fast, but the peppercorns are so packed with heat and flavor that all you need is like 5 seconds. Let's do like a heaping tablespoon. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Bam. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's it. You're gonna turn off the burner in a sec, but first, you're gonna hold up this extremely hot wok and drip all the oil out of it. This is our fresh Szechuan chili oil. Okay, I think we're ready. I think. So the Kung Pao tofu is crisping up real nice. Needs like maybe another 2 minutes. Perfect time for a taco break. I think there's always time for a taco break. I'm gonna start heating up some oil on this pan, and this is where we're going to be cooking our tofu bacon since it's been marinating for 45 minutes-ish. Oh, the bacon has finished marinating. I took it out of the container and I'm just gonna pat it dry before we fry it since all the flavor is already kind of like soaked into it. So this is not appetizing yet, but we'll get there, okay? I like to multitask, so I'm gonna start cooking the bacon. Ooh, it's popping. It's popping off, it's popping off. This is Probably the most delicious looking batch I've ever made. Kung Pao tofu. Here it is, the Kung Pao tofu extraordinaire. It actually came out looking real nice. Now, if the bacon would just quiet down over there, could you quiet down, please? Ow. Well, the sound is pretty annoying, but it's not gonna stop us from trying our beautiful Kung Pao tofu that I just made. One of my favorite things ever. 10 out of 10. I've had this so many times and I know I like it, but every time I make it, I forget how much I actually love it. It just has such a great flavor profile. Okay, this one legitimately looks like a piece of bacon. It has like the bend of it and everything. So, this is obviously hot as shit and you wanna be careful, but if you're excited like me, you might just need to go for it. The flavor of this bacon recipe is really good. And the texture is pretty good, but being completely honest, I do feel like bacon is one of those foods that plant-based wise, it's very difficult to replicate. And right now, I don't think there's like a perfect alternative yet. Until we find it and until the scientists present us with beyond bacon or whatever it's gonna be, this is a good way to make something that sort of tastes like bacon. And it has a similar texture. I like how my workspace just gets progressively more filled up with nonsense as the video goes on. Who's ready for some Nashville hot tofu? Oh, we have a taker. This was recommended to me by Choco Taco, who I'm assuming has tried Nashville hot tofu. I personally don't even know what that is. When I heard it, I was like, that sounds cool. I've been to Nashville, it was fun. I know what tofu is. Okay, and that was my decision making. So you're gonna take your 3 bowls, and in one bowl, you're gonna mix some almond milk. Actually, this is oat milk, apple cider vinegar, and hot sauce. And I am choosing Frank's Red Hot. So in the next bowl, we are gonna add just a cup of flour. And in the last bowl, we are gonna add our panko breadcrumbs. We are not gonna fry this. We are gonna bake this. So I'm gonna set the oven to 375. Let's do it over here. So you're gonna take a baking sheet, spray it a little too much with some baking spray. Okay, so it's flour, wet, panko. Okay, so we're gonna make this sauce because the Nashville hot tofu is almost ready. For the sauce, you're gonna need paprika, garlic powder, agave, olive oil, vegan butter, and hot sauce. This looks so good. This is the Nashville hot tofu, and it looks somehow better than I thought it would come out looking. So there you have it. 3 ways to make tofu not taste like tofu. This is, how you say, a Nashville delicacy?
Sorry, I look like a tired mother. It's because I am.
We are new parents to a rescue greyhound, and it has completely drained us the last week. But we need to refuel. It's important to refuel.
That looks so, wait, is that tofu?
This is tofu.
They look like tater tots.
Nashville hot tofu. Oh, easy.
Oh my fucking God.
Is it good? I haven't tried it.
Wait, what?
That's really good.
Wait, what? How did you do that? What's it breaded in?
Panko.
Choco suggested that?
Choco suggested this. Choco, dude, anytime you want to come over, I'll make you some Nashville hot tofu and we can go grocery shopping together.
My turn, my turn, my turn,
Oh.
my turn, my turn, my turn. My turn, my turn.
Okay.
Wait, that's not like tofu.
It is tofu.
Wait,
Okay.
it doesn't taste like tofu.
That was our goal, to make tofu taste like something else. And we did that, I think.
It tastes like little buffalo. That's better than buffalo cauliflower. Game day meal. Right
Game
there.
day meal. This, yeah, you know what, honestly?
Any game.
And the hot sauce.
Competitive Monopoly. Making that. I
The
don't
sauce
care.
is really good too, right?
Yeah, it's like buffalo times 10. It's like good. That one's my favorite.
I know. You love your buffalo.
I have buffalo wings.
Did we accomplish our goal today? That is completely subjective. But I would say we did, because I'm satisfied. I have 3 dishes here, none of which look like a block of tofu. Just like last week. If you counted how many times I said the word tofu, leave it in the comments below and then take a shot every time I did it, and then I'm not responsible for it.
Oh my God.
Take a shot of water, hydrate. Okay, now's the time where you ask for the check. Ask for the check, okay? Yes, here you go. No dining and dashing. I will send my hounds after you. I have 3 of them now. Bunny, do you want to say hi to the video? This is her. This is Bunny. Yeah, this food's not for you.
You haven't really spent a lot of time in here because this is where some of the noises are, huh?
She's very nervous with noises and people things.
She's having a really curious day, though.
Oh, Peach. Where were you? You didn't even show up to work, sous chef Peach. I was waiting for you. I did all the work myself. Chopped everything, prepped everything, and you're not even in your chef's outfit.
Outside, she's gonna go drink out of the pool.
Oh no. Anyway, thank you guys for watching another recipe that I've made in my kitchen, because this is a thing we do now that I'm actually really enjoying. So thank you for taking the ride with us, and feel free to tweet me your suggestions or leave them in the comments below for recipes that I should make in the future, because I will listen to them. You have better ideas than me. I'm gonna eat all 3 of these meals throughout the rest of the day, and I'll tell my stomach it's a business expense. Thank you. I'll be here till never. Bye.